All right, so welcome to today's webinar, free 1 hour webinar hosted by Prevention Plus Wellness LLC, located here in beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. I hope you're well, safe, and it's nice where you're at, and at least you're indoors when it's warm and comfortable. Thanks for joining us. We have a very filled capacity webinar today. So if you know somebody that hasn't wants to be on and isn't on yet, do give them a quick note that they better hop on right away because it's going to be shut down in just a moment. So we have a webinar that I'll be recording, and I'll send everybody who's registered a link to this recorded session. So if you do miss it, if you haven't been able to hop on, see it live, you'll be able to watch it recorded. So no problems, no worries for anyone. I will also send everyone a 1 hour CEU or CE certificate for spending today with us for this 1 hour. Today's topic, as you can see, 2021, these are new 2021 one session evidence informed vaping. That's e-cigarette vaping, as well as marijuana prevention plus wellness program. So you can see the 4 objectives for today's session. We are together going to explore the contents of the new 2021 vaping and cannabis PPW, that's prevention plus wellness programs. We have 3 versions: high school, middle school, elementary school versions. So I'm going to be asking you in just a few minutes, which of these do you want to see first? Which of these do you want us to emphasize during today's webinar? And based on your responses in the poll that I'll be sharing with you in just a moment, I'll be targeting that content for you. So you'll have a say in today's content. Second objective is to compare scripts for providing these programs, along with all of Prevention Plus Wellness programs, to youth or to young adults individually, that's one-on-one, as well as in a group, in person as well as online. These programs have been adopted or adapted so that they are readily provided very efficiently online during the pandemic, and maybe even beyond the pandemic if you find that an efficient or cost-effective strategy. Third objective, we'll look at the PowerPoint slides for some of these programs. We may not be able to look at all the slides, but I'll tell you, I'll compare and contrast the high school from the middle school, from the to the elementary school, marijuana versus vaping, and even the originator of these programs. The original model is the SPORT, which is the Alcohol Drug Prevention Plus Wellness Program, which is an evidence-based program. And I'll talk about the relationships among all those. So we'll look at the PowerPoint slides. I'll talk about the reproducible materials. And then lastly, number 4, we'll also mention very briefly implementation evaluation tools and support and training and resources on our website. If you haven't been to our website, please go there, preventionpluswellness.com. That's preventionpluswellness, all spelled out, .com. And you'll find lots of good free resources, as well as our evidence-based and evidence-informed programs and online training for these programs. All right, so that's what we're going to do today. So let me go ahead and launch into our poll. Oh, let's see, we've got Q&A already. Mr. Wirch recently purchased the marijuana PPW curriculum. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Kathy. Purchased in September 2020. Okay, so we have had some changes. And I think we sent out an email blast a week or so ago about those changes. And so let me just pause at this point and answer that question for Kathy. And for some of you that may have used Prevention Plus Wellness programs in the past, let me just say we're updating, I would say 95 or more % of our programs this year. We're updating them to 2021 versions. And so that includes all 3 versions of the sport, alcohol and drug, evidence-based prevention plus wellness program, high school, middle school, elementary school. Our obviously our marijuana and vaping PPW programs, which I'll be walking you through today, which is I'll be showing you the 2021 versions. This coming Thursday, that's the 14th of January, we have a webinar. Well, I'll be showing the new version of the InShape program. That's evidence-based prevention plus wellness program for young adults, as well as our opioid PPW program for adolescents. That's going to be, those new versions will be shown on this Thursday webinar. And then next week, I think we'll have a webinar to highlight the 2021 versions of our Sport 2, which is an alcohol drug prevention plus wellness program. That's our only multi-lesson program. It's actually 6 lessons. And so we'll probably have a webinar, a free webinar next week for the Sport 2 PPW program. So the question that Kathy raised, how do the 2020 versions compare to the 2021 versions? So what we've done is for this year, we've updated the directions for implementation. We've updated the description of the program. In other words, you know, the introduction, the description, step-by-step implementation, brought all that up to our current standards. I think one of the most significant changes is we've updated the goal plan, which now includes a recommendation, not just for physical activity, breakfast nutrition, sleep, obviously avoiding alcohol and drugs, but also increasing stress control strategies. So that's been added to the goal plan. In addition to the goal plan, we've added a brand new 7-day monitoring tool, so youth can monitor the achievement or non-achievement of their wellness behaviors that they've set in their goal plan for the 7 days in a row. So we've added that, and I think that's a significant change. That's our goal plan. We've updated the fidelity checklist. In some cases, we made some slight changes and updates to slides. And one last important thing, we've also identified that there's an available online follow-up goal plan. To the extent that you follow up with your youth, if you, at a minimum, remind them that there's a follow-up online goal plan that they should complete, give them an assignment to do so, or continue to provide feedback on the achievement of their goals over time. All of those are very good, and they're readily possible now because we are providing in all of our programs a follow-up online goal plan / contract. So those are the changes, Kathy. Hopefully I've answered your question. If you need anything, if you've purchased programs recently, then I'm happy to give you a discount on if you want a new version of the program, especially if you purchased it within the last year like Kathy has. Okay, so let's go ahead, take a look at the poll that I have. We've got one poll. I'm going to launch this. Here it is. It's being launched. It's coming to you right now. So 4 very, very simple and quick questions. I highly recommend you participate in the poll when you see it. Sometimes we have a glitch and some people aren't able to see this, or they're online only by audio. But for those of you that can participate, please do, because based on your responses, that's how I'm going to tailor today's webinar. So do give your feedback, and we'll see, see what you really want as a group, what you're really interested in. So I'm looking at these 4 questions. Which age groups do you serve or work with the most? That's and you can see there's 3 age groups. We're going to look at those. And the second question, what substance use topics are you most interested in? Of course, we're focusing today on either e-cigarettes or marijuana. Thirdly, implementation strategy you're most interested in person, online, one at a time, in a group. And then lastly, would you like us to, this is something we're contemplating, creating online versions of our programs. Now these would be completed completely by you. Certainly it could be part of an assignment that you provide. Then you could provide feedback in a classroom. but this is a different tool that we're playing with and wanted to get your feedback on, because this might be an avenue and an opportunity to reach a greater number of youth, and even in a more cost-effective way than you having to present it to them either in person or online. So think about that. That's question 4. So we've got, oh my, we've got 80% have voted already. That's fantastic. Let me just wait another 30 seconds and give everyone an opportunity to respond. And this is fantastic. I think this is the most we've ever had respond in one of our polls in the past. We're already up to 83%. So just another 15 seconds or so, we're up to 84% of you have responded, 85%. That's fantastic. We've never had that level of participation in a poll. So obviously a very, very committed group you are, and a very participatory as well. So thank you very much. So let me stop at this point. Excuse me, 85%. That's a record right there. 86%. Let me just say, I'll just wait another couple more seconds. Let's see if we can get up to 90%, 9 out of 10 of you who are online to participate. So if you haven't filled out the poll, fill it out now. We're up to 86%. In another 15 seconds, let's see if we can get up to 90%. We're up to 87%. We're just 3 percentage points away. That's probably just a couple of people. So up to 87%. If you haven't participated in the poll, please do. I'm not making any money by doing this. I'm just trying to encourage everybody to participate. Up to 87%. That is fantastic. All right, we're counting it down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I don't see anybody else participating. So I think we got everybody that can participate has done so. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. 87% have voted. So I'm going to end the polling at this point. Apologize for my throat. Anyway, let's take a look. I am sharing the results with you right now. They may take just a second to get there, and then you can scroll down and look at it. But which age groups do you most serve or work with the most? And high school is the winner. So we'll start with the high school programs, and then we'll look at middle school. But I'll talk about how the high school, middle school, elementary school, vaping, and the marijuana PPW programs are similar and how they're different. We'll start with high school. Then we've got marijuana and we've got vaping. Virtually, or not virtually, they're in a tie. You're equally interested in both of those. So we'll take a look at both of those programs, the marijuana and vaping, because that's what the focus is today anyway. Thirdly, which prevention program strategy are you most interested? The winner is online to groups. So that makes sense because of the pandemic. So we'll talk about that, but then we'll also talk about providing your program online, in person, as well as to individual youth. Lastly, I'm rather surprised by this. Almost 75% of you said that you would like a completely online version of the vaping or marijuana PPW program for youth to use either from home or in a classroom. I'd love to know more about that. If you have some interest in that, if you're really interested in us creating, either converting or making an adaptation to our vaping or marijuana program in an online fashion, what is it that you're thinking of? What is it that you'd like? How would you like us to configure that? And how would you use it in your classroom? So feel free to provide some feedback in your live chat. If you haven't found it already, look under those 3 horizontal dots and more, it says, and if you point your cursor at that or click on that, you'll see the chat, and then you could put in some content there, or the Q&A section as well. I'd love to hear what you're thinking of. What is it that you want? What is it that you need? Or you could email us at info, I-N-F-O, at preventionpluswellness.com. Want to hear what you're thinking and need in that, so we can be guided by our prevention provider partners. All right, thank you so much for participating. And I'm going to just shut the poll down now. And excuse me. So let's go ahead and, excuse me. I'm very sorry about that. So I've got a frog today. I don't know where that frog came from. So let me go ahead and pull up the actual program manual. And then I'll share that with you. So let's start. We'll start with the high school manual because most of you were interested in high school. Just give me just a moment here. Oh, there we go. I needed to find it, and here we go. Grab onto that, and I'll start with vaping. I know you're equally interested in vaping and marijuana. We'll start with vaping. We'll start with high school. Remember, all three versions of these programs, the vaping and the marijuana PPW programs, are modifications of the evidence-based SPORT, which is an alcohol drug prevention plus wellness program. Evidence-based being that SPORT, as well as our InShape PPW program, had undergone rigorous evaluation, the results of their effectiveness published, and then they were listed on evidence-based registries. Our adaptations to our SPORT and InShape programs, including vaping and marijuana today, opioid, we'll be talking about Thursday, Sport 2 we'll be talking about next week. Even our racial justice PPW program, all of those are adaptations of SPORT or InShape. They've not been evaluated, so that's why we sometimes call them evidence informed. But remember this, all prevention plus wellness programs use the evidence-based practices, screening, and brief intervention format. Screening, feedback, goal setting, very effective in the literature. Lots of research supporting that, and many organizations, NIDA and AAA, SAMHSA, you can go, CDC, you can go down the list, have supported screening brief intervention as evidence-based practice. So here's the vaping PPW program. This is the high school version we're looking at. As you can see there, this is brand new, 2021, just rolled it out a week or so ago. And whether you have the high school or middle school version of vaping or marijuana, this is the table of contents. This is what you'll see in all four of those programs. Vaping, which is again e-cigarettes, vaping high school, middle school, marijuana high school, middle school, you'll have these 7 sections. So you can see introduction, directions, screening, survey, and goal plan contract. Why is that put in there at section 3? I'll answer that. It's because, again, the 3 steps in implementing the screening brief interventions, prevention plus wellness screening brief interventions are 3 steps. Screen youth for their current health habits, not just substance use, but other protective wellness behaviors, physical activity, breakfast, nutrition, sleep, stress control. Secondly, you provide feedback on those behaviors using positive image communication, linking substance use, whether it be cannabis or vaping or alcohol or opioids, as being counterproductive, interfering with their wellness behaviors and the positive image of themselves in the future, being more fit, active, successful, healthy. That increases motivation for change. And then thirdly, capitalizing on that and allowing youth to identify a future improved vision of themselves. And we all have these unconscious desired images of ourselves being more successful, more healthy, more fit, etc. And once you've cued those images and motivation has increased, you can capitalize on that by allowing youth to identify those images as values and therefore set goals to not just avoid harmful substance use, but to improve protective wellness behaviors. And then it's up to you to decide. That's the intervention, 3 steps: screening, feedback, goal setting. After that, it's really up to you to decide if you have access to youth, whatever you can do to continue to promote them, to set goals, feedback, give them feedback on their goals, to continue that process and continue to develop self-regulation skills, which is for them to start learning how to shape their skills. Goal setting, very unique in PPW programs because it's not just narrowly focused on substance use, also includes protective wellness behaviors. That's one of the very unique aspects of prevention plus wellness programs. It integrates not just a substance use prevention, but also prevention of common chronic risk, chronic disease risks, inadequate sleep, poor diet, inadequate physical activity, uncontrolled stress. And these are addressed in PPW programs by looking at the other side of that coin, the wellness side, the positive side, by promoting wellness behaviors. Okay, having said that, that's why we have section 3, screening, survey, and goal plan. Now, let me stop at this point and say, when you use, and many of you, it sounds like, I'm sure at least some of you, like Kathy, have used our programs in the past, you know you get a physical manual, a hard copy of the manual, and it includes in your manual, as you can see here, the table of contents, section 4, a script to implement your program to one youth at a time. Very powerful, very much tailored to that youth. If you can do this, this is optimal because you're actually being almost like a personalized trainer. You're responding to how they answered their screening survey questions. You're customizing the feedback, if you will. So very powerful. It can be used for youth, all youth, as a universal prevention intervention as it was originally developed. All of our programs were. Many organizations across the nation, all 50 states and abroad, are also using our programs for high-risk youth as a selective or indicated prevention intervention. So you can use your section 4 script in your manual and provide your program to youth one at a time in person. We also have instructions now built into the 2020 manuals to make it easier for you to implement it to youth online. The instructions are built right in the manual. Section 5 is to provide a script to provide your group, your program, screening, feedback, goal setting program to youth in a group, in person or online again. So, and you can toggle back and forth. You could implement this one day to an individual youth, the next day to a group of youth. It uses the same content largely, the same slides, very easy. And the beauty of the script is that you don't have to, it reduces training time. We have a 2-hour online live training. So because you have a script, you practice your script, you hold your manual, you glance down at it, you look at your youth or your young adults, and you present your content. Very, very simple. It increases fidelity, replicability across implementer and across time, and cuts down on training. So it's really a beautiful thing. And you've got your slides coordinated with your script. Very, very simple, allows almost anybody to implement this. We even train youth to implement our programs to their peers. That's section 5, the group script. Section 6, evaluation materials. The beauty here is we've got a built-in pre-post test that comes in both a scannable form, if you present your lesson online, and an online SurveyMonkey form. So you could literally evaluate your lesson, your marijuana PPW lesson, your vaping PPW lesson before and after the lesson. And maybe for the first time as a prevention and health specialist, you can find out exactly how you did with this program for your youth because you've got a pre-post assessment of that session. So it's very, very simple, very powerful, gives you feedback so important for you to promote your program to other youth, to families, to the community, to funding agencies, as well as to improve your program over time. And lastly, this is new, and I had mentioned this earlier, you've got now a follow-up online goal plan contract. So this allows you, if you want to, or if you have an opportunity to continue to work with youth on that self-regulation piece, the skills piece, and that is helping them set, monitor, and achieve goals and learn to shape their own behavior. Goal setting, so very important in life. Goal setting is being used by, I would say, I don't know this for a fact, but I would say it's certainly promoted to almost all business entrepreneurs. Goal setting is a part of athletes setting goals to achieve the most. So very, very common goal setting for optimal performance. It can be used across life, improve health, relationships, career, etc. So you're going to be providing this very critical information and skills to your youth if you use Prevention Plus Wellness program. So that's the layout. There's some differences between the high school and middle school versions of the vaping and the marijuana program. The real key difference, there's subtle changes here and there, but the real key difference is the imagery, are the illustrations of youth. High school version, you'll see older adolescents. Middle school version, you'll see young adolescents. Elementary school version, you'll see children. Why is that important? It's important because we want to present models, images of the youth, same age images, so that they can relate to that, to see themselves in those PowerPoint slides. So that's a very, very critical difference between the three developmental versions, high school, middle school, elementary school, of all of our programs. I would say elementary school program is a little bit more simple as well. And depending on their reading level and their comprehension level, you're going to have, it's going to take a little bit more time to implement it because you're going to be reading things and so forth. Let's see, what else do I need to cover? That's it. By the way, in addition to your program manual, you'll get a digital download. What's a digital download? It's a link, and all you have to do is copy it to your device, whatever your favorite device is, laptop, tablet, smartphone, whatever, for safekeeping, because that digital download will have your PowerPoint slides, which you need to have with you when you present your lesson, and all of your reproducible materials, screening surveys, goal plans, pre-post tests, etc. And so the beauty of that is that after if you so choose to use any of our programs, you won't have to purchase anything beyond the initial manual and digital download. You could just make copies. So you could implement your program to countless youth or young adults. So no need, like a lot of other evidence-based programs, you have to keep buying, booklets and manuals and things like that for either teachers or for youth. By the way, this goes back to Kathy's comment. Kathy has a 2020 version of the program, perfectly good program. She can use that for the rest of her career, pass it on to be used for others. There's no problem with the 2020 program or even any of our other versions. It's just that we like to update and give the very best information that we have with the newer versions based on the feedback that we get from you as our prevention partners. So, so anyway, it's all good. No need, I don't want anybody to feel pressure that they have to buy something new when they could use the older version. Newer version, obviously better, up to date. You can use your older version again as long as you'd like. And we're here to support whatever version you might have the best we can. So you've got, let me walk you through the manual, the rest of the manual now. Here's the introduction, as we said. I'm just scroll past that. You've got step-by-step directions for implementation. By the way, we highly recommend taking the 2-hour online program implementer training for any of our programs. That way, we'll walk you through the steps and we will show you how to get the most out of your program. And we could talk to you personally about how you might tailor your program if you feel that's necessary, and evaluate the program. So the online training, which is usually small groups and tailored, very, very important experience to have. But it's separate. We don't force anybody to take the training. And we do provide the step-by-step instructions. Now, if you, I'm going to go past the, let me show you the screening survey. Here's the screening survey. This is the high school version. Remember, this is an adaptation of sport. And we presented the sport 2021 manuals last week. So you'll see same questions as sport, because this is an adaptation of sport. About physical activities in sports in the last year, regular physical activity, 30 minutes most days a week, Do friends influence you to participate in regular physical activity? Eat a healthy breakfast? You get 8 or more hours of sleep? But notice the last question is the difference. In sport, it's an alcohol question. Here, with the vaping, it's obviously an e-cigarette question. With the marijuana PPW program, it's a cannabis question. So that's the difference. That's a key difference. So what we've done essentially for vaping and marijuana, we've taken out the alcohol content and replaced it with either e-cigarette content or cannabis content, so that you're going to be presenting to youth how vaping and marijuana, in addition to alcohol found in the sport program, interferes with achieving a healthier lifestyle, a desired future image of themselves, and how it makes it more difficult to eat healthy, to get adequate sleep, to be physically active, etc. So that's a screening survey, high school version. The only difference in the middle school version is that this third question isn't available. That content isn't available in the middle school version. Other than that, very similar. Again, images very different, which is important. Elementary school, all yes and no questions, just to make it a little bit simpler for them. And the questions are a little bit easier. The goal plan, that's the third part. That's where you provide, this is the action piece. After you've walked them through screening survey, provided feedback using the script, now third part, goal plan. Here it is. Let's take a look at the goal plan. So you can see you're going to recommend wellness, not just avoiding substance use under number 5. And by the way, even under number 5, look at, it's relatively broad. It's not just avoiding e-cigarettes, but these other substances that can be harmful and interfere with a wellness lifestyle, with being active, fit, healthy, successful, so forth. So, but then also increasing, making sure you get plenty of sleep, number 1, healthy breakfast and foods, especially fruits and vegetables, number 2, some kind of regular physical activity, moving our bodies, having fun by ourselves, with others, you know, just being more active. Youth are not, majority of youth are not getting the 1 hour of physical activity they should have every day. The majority are not even getting 8 hours of sleep. Many need 9 or 10. Most are not eating a healthy breakfast. Very, very few are even having 1 fruit and vegetable, let alone 5 a day. Lots of room for improvement in all of these behaviors that interact with substance use habits. And of course, number 4, we've added that increased stress control, stress techniques, a lot of different options there: slow, deep breathing, yoga, meditation, prayer, relaxing bath, putting yourself in a quiet space, walking in nature, all beautiful ways to start relaxing and build that into our daily lifestyle. So you're going to have them pledge to avoid e-cigarettes. If it's a marijuana program, marijuana, but then also other substances, and then identify a specific, measurable, achievable wellness goal from up above: nutrition, physical activity, stress, sleep. It's going to be specific. Number 1, it's going to be quantity. Number 2, you're going to have frequency. Number 3. So you're going to walk them through that. You're going to have it dated and co-dated. That'll increase motivation for change. Here's the new 7-day log, monitoring log. So they'll be able to track their goals for the next 7 days. And then at the end, identify the total number of days from 0 to 7 that they've achieved goals. Okay, that'll give them some feedback, and they could reinforce that feedback. Congratulations, a lot of important content here about instruction, post their goals, reset their goals, tell others about their goals. You can do it, a lot of motivational interviewing and coaching, getting them excited. All right, now section 4, individual feedback lesson. So this is if you're going to implement your program to 1 youth at a time. As I said, very powerful. Let's just skip past that, because most of you said you'll be implementing it to youth in a group, primarily online, but then secondarily in person, I'm sure, once we get a better handle on the pandemic. The beauty is, for as much as we like to bash video conferencing platforms like this one, Zoom and others. It's a beautiful tool, and it allows you and I to get these critically important messages, evidence-based messages to our youth during the pandemic when they need it the most. So we're seeing a tremendous increase in substance abuse and problems and deaths associated with abuse. Very scary in the pandemic. And so very, very important to get this message across. PPW programs being positive, integrative, brief, flexible, powerful is a wonderful tool and works well online in just about any platform. We even have on our website protocols to implement it by phone if you have to do that. So here's the script. This is the group script, 2 or more individuals in person or online. And so literally as a script, you just follow the script. That's what it's all about. Really cuts down on the need to have specialized training outside of our 2-hour program implementer training. You don't have to have a master's degree. You don't have to have a doctorate. You don't have to be a counselor. You don't have to be a physician. You don't have to be a nurse. Again, we can even train youth to implement this. So you've got an introduction. You read the introduction. Now, in parentheses, these are new instructions that we put. We have these instructions not just now in the manual, but also in the notes section of your PowerPoint slide. So hopefully you won't miss it. But here's a reminder. You have an optional pre-test and a post-test. If you're going to provide it, now is the time to provide it. You can hand it out in a scannable form if you're going to use the pre-test in person. If you don't, if you're going to provide this lesson online, like now, I would show you the link to the pre-test in the chat option of our Zoom or Microsoft Teams or whatever, and then let youth click on it, give them a couple minutes to complete it, and then launch the introduction to the lesson and show the first slide. So you can literally collect pre and post test online to evaluate your program. Very simple, very quick, very efficient, and you get the data to assess and to promote your program. So you show your slide. Hello, for the next several minutes, I'll be talking with you about an exciting new fitness and health program. And then together, we're going to look at habits that can make you look better, feel better, and improve your performance in physical activities, school, and relationships. And that's it. You're presenting this. And then as you practice your script, which is so essential before you implement it, it becomes second nature, almost becomes memorized. And you can glance down at your script in your manual, look up at your youth, whether that be physical youth or virtual youth, looking at them in the camera like I'm doing, and communicate directly with them. Then the screening survey, you're going to implement that. Notice there's some directions there in parentheses, and then there's the script. Now take out your copy of the screening survey. So if you implement this in person, you have a hard copy of a screening survey. If you implement this online, there's no problems with that either, because after this slide, which says accuse you and your youth complete the health and fitness screening survey, after this, you actually have, there's slides that show the screening survey questions that we just looked at. And all you have to do is ask your online youth, your virtual participants, to answer on a blank sheet of paper. They could do that on any paper with a pen or pencil. And so you get your youth to answer the screening survey, part of the intervention, online or in person. Very simple. And then you provide your feedback about each of those screening survey items. Remember the first screening survey item, sports, physical activity, and last year. And there's your directions. You're going to ask your youth to raise their hands and respond as you read each of the types of physical activities, because you want to promote a positive social norm that, hey, your peers, your friends are physically active. How many of you in the last year, last 12 months, played baseball or softball? Even if you threw a baseball or softball, raise your hand. Now, if you're in person, they could raise their hands. If you're online, you can have them, you got 5 participants raising their hands. It's as simple as that, or thumbs up or whatever your platform, your online platform permits, you could have that. And youth are going to say, oh, wow, look at 5 people raised their hands. 5 people played softball, baseball. How many of you played basketball last year? I don't mean it, professionally. I don't even mean it for your school. Maybe you dribbled a basketball. Maybe you shot a basketball at home. How many of you played basketball last year? Raise your hand. And you'll go down this list and you'll see a lot of people. And that's promoting that very important social norm. My peers and my friends are physically active. What are the benefits of physical activity? Good for you. Sports physical activities are a great way to get regular exercise, fun, help you look fit and strong. Those are very powerful image terms. They evoke an unconscious image of themselves in the future, being more fit and strong. Who doesn't want to be more fit and strong? Most of us do. We want to be fit. We want to be strong, feel good about ourselves, give us a lot of energy, do better in school. All of those are benefits. And then the next slide, however, e-cigarettes or cannabis, if you're using the marijuana PPW program, or alcohol, if you're using the sport program, these things interfere with an active lifestyle. Using e-cigarettes like a Juul can hurt your health and affect how well you do in sports and physical activities. E-cigarettes contain nicotine and other chemicals that can harm your brain development. They can lead to attention deficit disorder, reduce lung function necessary to be successful in school and sports, etc. So that's the difference between marijuana and vaping and sport, which focuses on alcohol. We've switched out these messages specific to the program that you're using. Marijuana addresses marijuana messages, vaping addresses e-cigarettes, sport addresses alcohol, opioid, PPW addresses opioid, etc. And then you just continue to go down the list and provide feedback on each of the items that were in the screening survey. The second question was regular physical activity. There's a restatement of the question. You're going to then show a slide of the benefits and the positive images associated with regular physical activity. And then the next slide, you're going to talk about how e-cigarettes interferes with regular physical activity. In between, you'll see these discussion questions, very important, especially for implementation in groups, in person or online. The discussion questions have two purposes. Number one, keep people involved, keep your group, especially online. So you're going to pause and say, everybody, I want you to answer this question to yourselves right now. What types of sports or other physical activities would you like to try or maybe do more of? Pause, give them a moment, and then maybe have one or two or three respond. If you're in person, you can just point to them, have them respond. If you're online, you can have them respond verbally. You can allow them to speak. You can unmute their microphone. If you have a large group and presenting this like a webinar, then you can have them respond by chat, type in a chat response, and then you could read a couple of the chat options. So that's how you can present your lesson very easily in person or online. And then eventually you'll get through all of the feedback on all of the items. Now, when you get to e-cigarettes or the marijuana or the alcohol, there's going to be more slides because we're addressing more risk factors we know through research to influence substance use. So we're going to talk about how e-cigarettes in this case can harm fitness and health, can cause problems in your life, how an e-cigarette myth, very important, or cannabis myth. One of the big myths about e-cigarettes, vaping, is that it's healthier than smoking. Of course, we want to address that myth. We want to address the social norm, that a lot of youth overestimate and think most of their friends or many of their friends use e-cigarettes. So we want to correct that. We want to talk about healthy alternatives to vaping, and then some other content. Choose for yourself, plan ahead, recommendations for wellness, and then you're going to go into your goal plan. And you can present your goal plan in person with a hard copy, or you can present your goal plan online, because the following slides will show a goal plan, and you could have your youth complete a goal plan on a blank sheet of paper. Okay, so you can present your program online or in person. If you present your lesson one-on-one, the only difference there between the group script and the individual script is that if youth answer one way on the question, you're going to provide one response. If they answer another, you provide another response. So let me just give you an example. Let's say they said yes, they get regular physical activity. Then you'll read the yes response, green, good, go, and that is, congratulations, it looks like you're getting regular physical activity. Good for you. So it's positive feedback. If they said no, they don't get regular physical activity, then you'll read the no response. It's highlighted in red, maybe a little bit more risk or warning. And the feedback will be, it looks like you may not be getting regular physical activity. You could really improve how well you feel and do in school and relationships if you get a little bit of physical activity. So notice the feedback is either positive or it's neutral, no negative feedback. We don't want to tune anybody out from our prevention messages. That's the difference between the one-on-one and the group script. How about evaluation materials? I said you have a pretest. Here it is, a scannable pretest. Also comes on a link, and you can provide the link and provide this pretest before and after your lesson as you present your lesson online. Works either way, very, very simple. You have 2 questions. Because you're implementing your pretest within 1 session before and after the lesson, you can't measure behavior, not enough time to see behavior change. So we have 2 critical measures that are indicative or predictive of future behavior. The first, and the next year, how likely are you to, is a measure of behavioral intentions, most highly predictive measure of future behavior. Notice you're not just measuring cannabis, you're not just measuring e-cigarettes, but 5 substances and 4 wellness behaviors. In addition, the second measure, very, very important, very common, very predictive of future substance use among youth, is perceived harmfulness, perceived risk, perceived susceptibility, all those things similar. If you used any of these regularly, would they harm your health or health habits? Of course, your vaping, your marijuana, your sport, all PPW programs address this regularly. So you should see increased perceptions of harmfulness of all of these 5 substances. Even though your program may only address one of them primarily, like vaping addresses mostly e-cigarettes, it's not unlikely for you to see changes in some of these other behaviors as well, because youth draw those correlations, those relationships. Then your post-test, exact same measures. 2 items, behavioral intentions, perceived harmfulness, plus 2 critical open-ended items to get feedback in the words of the youth themselves. Number 3, you'll be able to cut and paste this content, and you'll be able to use it to promote your program to other youth, to parents, to communities, to your organization, articles in the newspaper, funding agencies. And this will make you feel like you are having, and you'll know you're having for maybe even the first time in your career, a significant impact on youth in these very important areas: motivation, behavior change, goal setting, self-esteem. Really, really important. And item 4 will give you hints as to how to improve your program. You also have an instructor survey. It's a self-assessment. You self-assess the quality of your implementation, quality of your presentation, the quality of your communication. Like number 3, what was your level of enthusiasm and passion? It should be on the far end of the scale, toward a 4. And as you present your lesson, the more times you implement it and the more times you use your instructor survey to assess yourself, you want to get to that number 4, the highest level, a lot. You have a lot of enthusiasm and passion. That's a sign of good presentation. You got a fidelity checklist as well. You can implement that or score that. And then you've got a online follow-up post-test, which is optional. That's to keep youth engaged. Give them the assignment to do a second goal setting in the next 7 days. And you could give them the link to do that. You can maybe ask them, we could give you a personalized link to this so that you could see whose names are on those goal settings. Or you can have them print out their goals from online and bring them into your classroom. A lot of options for using this follow-up goal plan, which is a new element to our 2021 programs. To show you what the slides look like. Where are my slides? All right, hang on a second. I'm going to just show you one of our slides. Let me see if I could find that. Okay. All right, just give me a moment. I'm looking for one of our slides so I could show you what the slides look like. All right, hang on a second, hang on. For some reason, my slides have disappeared. I know they're there. When you have multiple files open, at least in the Zoom, it sometimes gets a little bit tricky to find everything. Let me see, here we go. Just give me just a moment. Thanks for your patience as I search for my slides. Oh, okay. I'm not finding slides because I never open up a slide. All right, so what I'm going to do is let me open up the slide for, let's do the middle school marijuana slides. Let me just pull that open. Just give it a moment to let that load. PowerPoint slides opening right now. And a little slow, there we go. And now let me latch on to that for you and show you on Zoom. All right, here we go. So here's the middle school marijuana slides. There's your opening slide. Here's your second slide, which is going to cue youth to complete a fitness and goal, a fitness screening survey. And then if you present this online, we could show these slides, which are the actual screening survey. So you don't have to have a hard copy. You can have your youth complete the screening survey on a blank sheet of paper, not a problem. And then you can provide your feedback, and you're going to have them pause and not just be involved, but always relate this back to their own personal lifestyle. That's the other importance of these discussion questions. I forgot to mention that. Critical. You want them to always relate this content back to their current lifestyle and how they could improve it. So, all right, and then you get to the end when it says goal plan. Now complete a goal plan, contract. If you're in person, you hand out a copy. If you're online, you simply show the 8-point goal plan and have them complete it on a blank sheet of paper. So they can complete the goal plan, they can be engaged and involved, and you can do all of that right there online with your youth as you present your lesson. All right, let me pause at this time. I know I've gone through a lot of content. There's a lot more, but we have just about run out of time. Let me pause and see if anybody has any questions. I'm going to stop and I'm going to see if you've written any questions, any comments in the chat. That was Kathy's comment earlier in the Q&A. Let me pull up the chat. I'm going to expand this so it's a little bit easier to see for everybody. Oh, I guess that's as large as I can get. I thought I can get a little bit larger. Anyway, let's take a look at it. It's right in the center of my screen. So middle school, good evening. See, some people are from another country visiting, so which is tremendous. This is fascinating and fantastic that we got people from throughout the country and even abroad attending these webinars. So thank you all for joining for today's session. Let's see, PowerPoints for online would be helpful. That's from Tony. PowerPoints for online would be helpful. I think I showed you that. Let me know if you need anything else, Tony. I'm not sure what you're saying there. I work with homeless youth, so online is a hurdle for them. I understand that completely. So in person may be your only option. That's fine. You can implement your program in person with, with care, with safety in mind, and you just need to show your slides, and you can make copies of your materials for implementation. Can you please show some elementary slides? Okay, I can do that for you, Barb. Just hang on a second. I have a much better understanding now that's available. Thank you. That's good. I'm glad that was helpful for you. Let's see. Is there a 100-person limit? I have a colleague who was kicked off. Yeah, we had, I apologize for that. Like I said, we had literally a couple hundred people, I think, register for this. So the good news, I'll send everybody who's registered a link. So they'll be able to view this. If not live, then they'll be able to view it as a recording. So just a tremendous interest in this topic. Work with homeless. I said that PowerPoint slide middle school. Good evening. Okay, I can hear. Okay, so let me pull up. A one of the slides for elementary. Okay, just so that you could see the difference. So you could see. Let's do the. Let's go to the vaping. Let's see, elementary slides. All right, let me pull that up. There it is. Now let me just grab onto that. Elementary vaping. Let's see here. Where did my, hang on just a moment. I've got the slide up. I just need to, there we go. For some reason, I've lost my controller. Shut that down and let me see if I can. Oh, here we go. Middle school. I'm trying to grab onto this slide, this elementary school slide, and I'm having a little problem finding my control to that. To show you, I will tell you while I'm trying to do that, I could tell you that the main difference is, again, the images. That's the critical difference. The critical difference is the fact that what you'll be looking at are images of children, these beautiful children running and modeling these positive behaviors. I'm looking at them right now. I'm just trying to share them with you. You know, playing soccer, running, eating healthy foods. So that's what you'll see. By the way, if any of you are interested, you're welcome to request a sample, an e-sample of any of our program manuals, and I can send you that. All right, so for whatever reason, I am not able to log in to that. So I apologize for that. I don't know what my problem is. So let me just say, again, request a elementary school version, and I could send you that and you could see the images in the slides in the manual. So for some reason, I've lost my control panel. All right, let me just see if there are any other questions. I'm not even sure I can see the questions at this point either. I've lost that. I don't know what happened. I am not sure what happened with my control panel. Well, for as experienced as I am with the Zoom, you never know what's going to happen. So if you are going to provide any programs online, my recommendation for you is practice online, get as familiar with it as you can, but do realize that even with that, you know, things happen online. So, and you may have an issue or a problem with it. So just go with it, do the best you can. Oh, here we go. Here's the, okay, so here I'm back with the chat options. Are the samples meant to be dedacted? Yes, they're dedacted to protect it, you know, so you can't see the whole thing. You'll be able to get a good sense of it though. Look at the slides in these redacted or dedacted, however you want to say that, e-samples that I could send you. Do you know if you can access any technical equipment for students that are indigent, phones, iPads? That is a great question, Janet. I don't know if anybody here who's online has any, and if any of you can help answer that important question for Janet, please go ahead and answer that on chat for her. I am really stumped with that. I don't have anything to really help you with at that point, but maybe one of the other people online can help you with that. So let me see. I guess that's it. I guess that's all I'm able to do at this point. Oh, here we go. Still trying to figure out what happened. I'm going to cancel the recording right now and say, by the way, God bless you all for what you do. I always love to say that. Thank you for making a difference in the lives of youth and children in your region of the country and world.